Imagine a world where every choice is made with one goal in mind, creating the most happiness for the most people. Sounds great, right? This idea isn't just a dream, it's a guiding principle for many. Let's dive into the philosophy that makes this its mission: utilitarianism. This school of thought has been shaping ethical discussions for centuries. Utilitarianism, at its core, is a moral compass. It guides us through the complexities of ethical decision-making. It helps us navigate the messy world of right and wrong, offering clarity in situations that seem morally ambiguous. But instead of relying on ancient texts or divine commands, it asks a simple question: what action will produce the greatest happiness for the greatest number of people? This question is both profound and practical. Think of it like this. You have $10. How will you use it to maximize happiness? Do you buy yourself a fancy coffee? A small pleasure for one. Or do you donate to a cause that could help dozens of people? A larger impact for many. A utilitarian would say, go for the option that spreads the happiness furthest. It's about the greater good. It's a philosophy that's all about maximizing good and minimizing suffering. Every action counts, and it has a lot to say about how we should live our lives, make decisions, and structure our societies. By focusing on collective well-being, we can create a better world for everyone. Now, every good philosophy needs its founding thinkers, the pioneers who lay down the groundwork. And utilitarianism has two big names, Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill, who are often credited with shaping this influential theory. Think of them as the dynamic duo of happiness theory, each bringing their unique perspectives to the table. Bentham, the older of the two, was all about practicality and straightforward solutions. He wanted a way to measure happiness, to actually put numbers on those good vibes, making it more scientific. He even came up with a system called the philosophic calculus to try and quantify pleasure and pain, a groundbreaking idea at the time. Mill, his godson, came along and added some nuance and depth to Bentham's ideas. He argued that not all pleasures are created equal, introducing a qualitative aspect to the theory. Reading a book, he'd say, is a higher pleasure than eating a whole cake by yourself, emphasizing intellectual and moral pleasures. Though let's be honest, cake can be pretty great too, especially when shared with friends. Let's talk about some key concepts in utilitarianism: utility, consequences, and impartiality. These ideas might seem complex at first, but they are actually quite straightforward once you break them down. Don't worry, these are less intimidating than they sound. We'll walk through them step by step. Utility is just a fancy word for happiness or well-being. It's the measure of how much good or satisfaction an action brings. It's the good stuff we're trying to maximize. Think of it as the ultimate goal of our actions. Consequences are the outcomes of our actions. Every decision we make leads to a result, and those results matter. Utilitarians are all about those consequences. They focus on what happens as a result of our choices. They believe that the morality of an action depends solely on its results. And then there's impartiality, which is crucial. This means everyone's happiness counts equally. Your best friend, your neighbor, and even that guy you sat next to on the bus, their happiness is just as important as yours. No one's well-being is more significant than another's. It's like that old saying, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Treat everyone's happiness with equal importance. Imagine you're a politician and you have to decide how to allocate funds. The stakes are high and the choices are tough. Do you invest in a new park that will bring joy to thousands? A place where families can gather and children can play? Or do you use the money to build a new jail, even though it might only benefit a small number of people? Tough choices, right? Each option has its own set of consequences. That's where utilitarianism comes in, urging you to consider the greatest good for the greatest number. It helps guide these difficult decisions by focusing on maximizing overall happiness. Section 4, but isn't it all subjective? Critiques of utilitarianism. Utilitarianism sounds great, maximize happiness, minimize pain, but it's not without its critics. First, measuring happiness is tricky. How do you quantify emotions and whose happiness counts more? Is my joy over a new phone equal to someone else's relief from hunger? Second, there's the issue of individual rights. Utilitarianism prioritizes the majority, but what happens to the minority? For example, sacrificing one person to save 5 may maximize happiness overall, but is it ethical? Finally, long-term consequences are unpredictable. An action might bring short-term joy, but cause harm later. Can we truly foresee every ripple effect? These critiques remind us that no moral theory is flawless, but they also push us to think deeper about what the greatest good really means. Utilitarianism isn't just a dusty old theory, it's shaping decisions today. Take self-driving cars. When programming these vehicles, engineers must decide, if an accident is unavoidable, should the car prioritize the driver's safety or pedestrians' lives? Utilitarian principles often guide these tough choices. Or consider climate change. Governments and organizations weigh short-term economic costs against long-term benefits for the planet. Utilitarianism drives the push for policies that maximize well-being for future generations. Even in healthcare, vaccine distribution uses similar reasoning. Prioritize areas where it can save the most lives. Utilitarianism helps tackle modern problems by focusing on outcomes and the greater good. Proof that this centuries-old idea is still steering humanity toward a better future. And that's utilitarianism, where every decision is a happiness equation. What do you think? Can we live by this principle? Let us know in the comments. Hit like if this sparked some philosophical joy, and subscribe for more insights into the world of ideas.